Hello, pupils. You're welcome to another wonderful edition of your favorite program, The Classroom in Your Home, a program organized by the Lagos State Government and packaged by the Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, LASUBEB. It is to ensure that you are academically engaged in addition to what you're learning in school. I am Auntie Fumi, your English Studies teacher, and as usual, I have with me your wonderful teachers.
Hello children, I am Uncle Agbaje, your mathematics teacher, but you know me as the mathematician.
Uncle Popo is here, your general studies teacher.
And we also have in the house our active sign language interpreter, Uncle Nii. Together, we are bringing the classroom into your home. Please stay tuned. Pupils, you're welcome to Auntie Fumi's class. In our English Studies lesson today, we will look at the second part of single words for phrases and sentences. In our last lesson, we started with single words for phrases and sentences. We will look at the second part of the topic today. But before we go into this lesson, let's do the correction to our homework. You were asked to find the meaning of some given words. And here are the words. Septuagenarian. Who is a septuagenarian? That is the person that is between the age of 70 and 79. 70, 71, 72, up to 79. If there's any person who is within those ages, then the person is a septuagenarian. Are we together? Okay. Misogamist. Misogamist. This is a person with a dislike or hatred for marriage. When you talk about marriage, he or she is not interested at all. He doesn't want to get married. He's not interested in marriage. That person is a misogamist. Catalog. Catalog. This is a complete list of items, usually alphabetical. A complete list of items, and they're usually in the alphabetical order. Number 4, octogenarian. Octogenarian. Why a septuagenarian is between the age of 70 and 79, and octogenarian is between the age of 80 and 89. 80, 81, 82, up to 89. A person who is within this age range is called an octogenarian. Lastly, accomplice. Accomplice. An accomplice is an associate in the commission of a crime. If you commit any offense or any crime, the person that is an associate that is aware of that crime with you is an accomplice. That person is an associate, a participator, or whether a principal or an accessory, a participator in an offense is known as an accomplice. Did you get the 5 correctly? Then I want to say I am proud of you and I celebrate you with a cheer. Good job, you. Now to the learning objective for today's lesson. Don't forget we are looking at the second part of single words used instead of phrases and sentences. So by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to say the meaning of some single words used in place of phrases or sentences. And like we did in the last lesson, we should also be able to gain new vocabulary or vocabularies. Now, let's begin. Today we're starting with this word, successor. 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 One who takes over after another person in office or employment is called successor. That person is called a successor. I am occupying an office or a position. After leaving that position, another person comes in. That person is my successor. and I'm that person's predecessor. Are we together? Okay. One who talks in his or her sleep. Do you do that while you're sleeping? You talk in your sleep? Then you are a somniloquist. Yes, somniloquist. One who talks in his or her sleep is a somniloquist. Say that. Good. Another one who listens to other people's conversation. When daddy and mommy, maybe when they're having conversation, you're standing behind the door, you're eavesdropping, you are listening without the consent of those people that are having the conversation. You are an eavesdropper. You eavesdrop. Yes, you are an eavesdropper. So one who listens to other people's conversation is an eavesdropper. One who abstains from alcoholic drinks. One who doesn't take alcoholic drinks is known as a teetotaler. Yes, teetotaler. Are we gaining new vocabularies? Good. People in their 60s. People in their 60s, 60, 61, 62, and so on, 60-something years of age, are known as sexagenarian. Sexagenarian. Say that. Good. What about people in their 90s? 90, 91, 92, and so on, up to 99. They are nonagenarian. Nonagenarian. Are we together? What about people in their hundreds? 100, 101, 100, and in their hundreds, they are known as centenarian. They are known as what? Centenarian. Are you learning? Good. A brief summary of a book. A brief summary of a book is known as epitome. It's known as what? Epitome. A collection of poems. A collection of poems is anthology. Anthology. A-N-T-H-O-L-O-G-Y. Anthology. That is a collection of poems. What about a history of one's life written by another person? If I now decide to give it to maybe a friend of mine or Uncle Agbaje, help me to write, then it becomes a biography. It becomes what? A biography. You now know the difference between autobiography and biography? Good job, you. Let's move on. Loss of memory. Loss of memory. Yeah. If you find it difficult to recall some things, some past events, then you're suffering from amnesia. You're suffering from what? Amnesia. Loss of memory is amnesia. Speaking to oneself. You're talking to yourself. Talking to nobody in particular, just talking to yourself. That is soliloquy. It is called soliloquy. Say that. Soliloquy. Well done. What if something is fit for eating? Something is fit for eating. You can eat it. You are free to eat it. It is not injurious to your body system or to your health. We say that thing is edible. We say it is what? It is edible. Good. To put to one's own use the money one is entrusted for safekeeping. You are given some money, please keep this money. And you now spend the money. You use the money for your own personal business. Then that act is called embezzlement. You just embezzle. You embezzled. One who cannot read or write. Do we have such people here? No. If you cannot read or write, the person is known as an illiterate. Yes, the person is known as an illiterate. If something is easily broken, if you touch it and you're not careful, it gets broken easily. We say that thing is fragile. That thing is what? Fragile. If mommy brings in some glass cups, you will see it inscribed or written on the carton that this is fragile. Go and check, you will see it. Yes. So something that is easily broken is called fragile, or is known to be fragile. One who imitates the voice or gesture of other people. One who imitates the voice, gestures of other people is called a mimic. It's called a mimic. M-I-M-I-C, mimic. The act of imitating other people's voices, their gestures, is mimicking. So the imitator, that person that imitates the voice or the gesture, is called a mimic. In a boat, there is definitely somebody that steers the boat. A person who steers a boat is called a coxswain. Yes, a coxswain. Say that. A person who steers a boat is called a coxswain. A list of various types of food to be served. I could remember when we went to Uncle Popo's party, we were given a list of various types of foods which we are to choose from. So a list of various types of food to be served is called a menu. Now it's activity time. Today we've been able to look at some single words that can be used in place of phrases or sentences. So let's see how attentive you have been in the course of this lesson. Replace each phrase or sentence in the following with a single word. We're doing it together, so get your pen and exercise books ready. A person who steers a boat is called A, pilot, B, driver, C, coxswain. What is the answer? Write it down. Yes. Number 2, if something is easily broken, it is termed to be what? Easily broken. Is it soft? A, soft. B, fragile. C, thin. What is the answer? Just put it in your exercise book. Write it down. Number 3, able to read, or the ability to read. One who is able to read and write is known to be A, professor, B, teacher, C, literate. What is your answer? Please write it down. Number 4, a collection of poems. A collection of poems. Is it A, anthology, B, riddles, or C, journal? What's your answer? Number 5, one who listens to other people's conversation. Somebody said, no, it's not Gbeburu. One who listens to other people's conversation. Is the person a pastor or actor or eavesdropper? What is the answer? Okay. By now you should have 5 answers. So let's do the correction together. A person who steers a boat is a coxswain. Did you get that? Please give yourself a mark. Just a tick. Easily broken. That means it is fragile. It is fragile. Yes. Did you get that too? I trust you. Someone who is able to read. The person is literate, not illiterate. Literate. Ability to read and write. Number 4, a collection of poems. What is that? Anthology. Yes, anthology. And lastly, one who listens to other people's conversation. The person is an eavesdropper. The person is what? An eavesdropper. Auntie Fumi got 5 out of 5. What about you? Wow. I am proud of you and I celebrate you with a cheer. Good job, you. Now for your assignment. You have to write the meaning of the following. Write the meaning of the following. Canvasser, contraband, armistice, casualties, and audible. I give you 20 seconds to capture that assignment, and I'll be back to sign out. Well done, children. Eyes on me. By now, you ought to have finished writing or copying your assignment. Make sure you submit your assignment very fast. Do it very soon. I wouldn't want like a situation where you submit the assignment for Monday on Thursday. Do it and submit immediately. Is that taken? And when you're submitting your assignment, please make sure you indicate your name, your school, your class, and your local government education authority. Submit this assignment, and I promise you, you will win a lot of gifts from the state government. On that note, I say that's it for today. We have come to the end of the English Studies lesson for today. It's time to hand it over to the mathematician, Uncle Agbaje, for another beautifully packaged mathematics lesson. Before I go, I will always tell you, Auntie Fumi is proud of you. Bye.
Hello, children. You are welcome to this segment of the program, The Classroom in Your Home. It is mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we will continue our work, but extending the concept of volume to some other thing. We will be talking about the measurement of capacity. Have you heard of that word before? Perhaps you have, perhaps you've not. By the end of this lesson, all gray areas would have been cleared up for you. But before we go into what capacity is, we have to look at the correction to that homework. You were asked to find the volume of a particular sphere. Do you remember the formula? Of course, the formula is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. That is 4 over 3 pi, then multiplying by radius in 3 places. So that radius is not given here. We're given the diameter. And so we need to find the radius, and the radius will be the diameter divided into 2. And if the diameter is 3 centimeters, the radius will be 3 centimeters divided by 2, as you can see here. So now bringing out that formula, what we need to use is 4 over 3 times pi r cubed. And that is 4 over 3 times pi, which is 22 over 7, then times the radius in 3 places. That is 3 over 2 times 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. I'm sure that you go to this place. Now we need to simplify this. We are almost there. Okay, let me get a pen here. So now 3 cancels 3. 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 11. 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 2. 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 1. So in the denominator, I'm left with 7. And in the numerator, I have 3 times 3, which is 9, times 11. And that gives me 99. So I should be left with 99 over 7 centimeter cubed. Of course. And then we divide 99 by 7. 7 goes in 9 one time. 7 goes in 9 one time, remaining 2. And put that 2 beside the second 9. 7 goes in 29. How many times? 4 times. Remaining 1, and I still have to divide that 1 by 7. And I'm sure that should be the final answer. 14 1/7. Of course, the final answer is 14 1/7 centimeter cubed. Is that what you got, my friend? Of course, that's what you got. This one was quite easy. So let me celebrate you with a chair. You are very smart, and you are ready for today's work. What are our learning objectives for this lesson? By the end of this lesson, you should be able to appreciate the idea of capacity. You should also be able to state the units of measuring capacity and their relationships. And finally, you should be able to make conversion from one unit to another. As with anything that has to do with measurement in mathematics, we always have units for them. Also, we also have instruments for measurement. But for today, we're just concerned about the unit and how to convert from one unit to the other. And so let's just get right into it. The capacity, you've heard about it before, but what is it? The capacity of a container is the amount of liquid or solid that the container can hold. I'll take that again. The capacity of a container is the quantity of liquid or solid it is capable of holding. So when we're talking about capacity, we are talking about containers. So anything that is a container for liquid is definitely going to be having a capacity. And so how much liquid it can hold now depends on its capacity. And so by the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate the capacity. But now think of your water bottle, the one you take to school, and think of your bucket, the one you use for taking your bath. Now, which one do you think has more capacity? Of course, you will require more water for taking your bath, and so that bucket will have more capacity, a higher capacity than your water bottle. And that means that the bottle, or the bucket rather, for taking your bath can take more water than your water bottle. So keep that at the back of your mind. Now, these are some containers. You're familiar with some of these. The capacity is measured in liters. So when you're talking about capacity, you won't talk about the capacity of your bucket. You will not say 4 minutes. No, capacity is not measured in minutes. You'll be talking about liters. And so these are some containers. You have this one for the water dispenser. You have a smaller version of that, and then some bottles. You have seen these 25 liters for holding water or oil or some other things. You have seen this bottled water, and of course that. Okay, these are several containers, but you will agree with me that some are bigger than others, and that means that the liters itself will have different levels. There will be the bigger graduation, and there will be smaller graduations. So let's talk about that in details. So small containers like the syringe that is used to administer intravenous injection. You know when the nurse wants to give you an intravenous injection? Yeah, that container, that syringe itself is a container. Okay, and so it will have its own capacity, and those kind of small capacities are graduated in what we call the milliliters. Milliliters. So the milliliter is a smaller version of the liter, because obviously you cannot take what do you call it, that one for the water dispenser and put a needle to inject you. Wow. How will that go into your body? So we need something very small, and that is why we use the milliliter. The syringe is very small. Okay, so small containers like this syringe and other small things like the small bottles for your cough syrup and things like that will be measured in milliliters, small aspect of a liter. Okay, so that when somebody says you need a milliliter of water to take your bath, just say it can never be enough, because that's like a drop. Okay, then containers for holding drinks that will be consumed by one person, you know, a bottle of water or a bottle of mineral or Pepsi, Coke, or other soda water, will be graduated in centiliters. And this is why you see, if you take a bottle of water, so most of this bottle water for personal drinks like a Lucozade Boost or those personal drinks that one person can consume are usually graduated in centiliters. They are much larger than that syringe for injection or those syrup bottles. I mean, this one, if you take water in a syrup bottle or a syringe, it will not be enough to quench your thirst. Okay, so you need more than the milliliters. You need centiliters of water. Okay, so all these are graduated in centiliters, although this is more than this will be more than a liter, but bottles for personal drinks, yeah, centiliters. What you can consume at a time, yeah, centiliters. Okay, so let's move on. What are the relationship between these units of capacity? I mean, we have liters, we have milliliters, we have centiliters. How many millimeters make 1 centimeter? How many centiliters, or rather, how many milliliters make 1 centiliter? How many centiliter make 1 liter? When we were talking about length, we sang that song, millicenti, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilometer. The same thing applies to this. Millicenti, deciliter, deca, hecto, kiloliter. But we won't be going that road today. Here, a milliliter is 1,000th of a liter. I'll take that again. A milliliter is 1,000th of a liter. Imagine a pack of juice like your Chivita. Those ones are usually 1 liter. And now, if you have to share that one pack among 1,000 pupils, that's like all the children in your school, and then the neighboring school, and 3 schools like that. All of you together have to share 1 chivita. You know, you all just get perhaps a drop each. That drop is a milliliter. Okay, so if this is a whole liter, then this is what a milliliter looks like beside a whole liter, because there is 1,000 of these in this. So this is just 1 liter compared to a whole liter. So that analogy again, if you have to share 1 pack of juice, that's 1 chivita pack or any other juice like that, you have to share it among 1,000 pupils. You know, you get very, very little, and that little quantity is what you call a milliliter. And you know that 1 milliliter is not for you to even wash your hands. All right. So therefore, 1,000 milliliters is 1 liter. In fact, when you hear the word milli, it doesn't mean million actually. It means a 1,000th part, 1,000th. That is 1 all over 1,000. If I divide it into 1,000, I get a milli. So when they say a millisecond, that is if you divide 1 second into 1,000 parts. Okay, so that's that about the milliliter. Then we talk about the centiliter. The centiliter is 1/100th part of a liter. That is when you take a liter into 100 parts, like that pack of juice, you want to divide it into that's among 100 children. That's like all the children in your class, and probably in the next 5 classes. 100 altogether. Now you will get more than drops, but what you get will still not be enough for you to wash your hands. So a centiliter is 1/100th part of a liter, and if this were to be a whole liter, then this line is just 1 centiliter, because you have 1, 2, 3. There are 10 here for this first layer. Remember, I work on volumes, and now there are 10 volumes. So if there are 10 here, 10 as 10 downwards, then 10 in 10 places, that is 100. So a centiliter is 1/100th part of a liter, and that means that 100 centiliters make up 1 liter. So when you remember the milli, that's 1 pack of chivita among 1,000 children, you get drops. When you remember the centi, that is 1 pack among 100 children, only the children in your school, you get more than drops, but it's not going to be enough for you to wash your hands. All right, that's 1 centiliter. But let's compare the milliliter to the centiliter now. The milliliter is just 1 out of 1,000, but the centiliter is 110 rather out of 1,000, and that is 1 out of 100. So in this case, the milliliter, the whole of this front row is the centiliter. And if we count, let me take a red pen here. If this is 1, then this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means 10 milliliters make 1 centiliter. Take that again. 10 milliliters make 1 centiliter. So we've learned 3 things. The milliliter, that's into 1,000. The centiliter, that is into 100 for a liter. But between the milliliter and the centiliter, 10 milliliters make 1 centiliter. Keep that at the back of your mind, because we'll be solving problems with them. Let's now convert units. Convert 230 milliliters to liters. How many milliliters make 1 liter? Milli. Of course, that is 1,000 milliliters. So I write the relationship. 1,000 milliliters is 1 liter. So to find 230 milliliters, this one is reducing. I will have to reduce this one in the same ratio, and that is putting the smaller number on top. Now I have 230 divided by 1,000. First, I can cancel the 0, so I can just go directly and say 230 over 1,000 is, right in my decimal places, unit, tenth, hundredth, thousandth, and I write 230 underneath, starting from the thousands place. Okay, so I have a decimal point here, and I fill the unit place with 0. That is 0.230, but of course the last 0 is not useful, and I still get 0.23. With this, I would now multiply. This gives me 0.23, then times 1 liter. 0.23 times 1, any number multiplied by 1 will give us the number. That's 0.23 liters. And what that simply means is that 230 milliliters is not even up to 1 liter. It's 0.23 liters. It's not up to 1 liter, because 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. Let's look at another example. This one says convert 4.5 liters to centiliters. Liters to centiliters. What's the relationship between centiliters and liters? That is, 1 liter is the same thing as 100 centiliters, okay? It's like sharing that drink between 100 people, the pupils in your school. So if 1 liter is 100 centiliters, then 4.5 liters will be multiplying the other side by 4.5. It's like saying I'm increasing this one in the ratio 1 to 4.5. So I'll have to increase this one in the ratio 1 to 1.5, 4.5. And that means the bigger number will be on top. So it's like saying 4.5 over 1, so that you don't keep wondering, but the other ones had a fraction. Why didn't this one have a fraction? It's just 4.5 over 1 times what you have there. And so 4.5 times 100 centiliters. Again, in this case, since you are multiplying, you are moving the decimal point to the right. 2 times, because there are 2 zeros, 1, 2. You put this empty space, you fill it with 0, and you have 4.50. Decimal point is at the end. Oh, sorry, not 4.50 actually. Let me check this. Since we have moved the decimal point, the decimal point is now at the end. That is 450. The decimal point is here. And since it's the last thing, you don't need to put it. So we have 450. Cancel that. Okay, so you have 450 centiliters, and that is the answer to that. One final example. You have to change 750 milliliters to centiliters. What is the relationship between the milliliter and the centiliter? The centi is just 10. 10 millimeters make 1 centimeters. Okay, 10 millimeters make 1 centiliter. And I want to change 750 milliliters. So I put 750 here, and then I'm increasing this, so I will have to increase this, and that means I put the bigger number on top. That's a 750 over 10 times 1 centiliter. So 1 0 can cancel 1 0, and I have 75. 75 times 1 is 75 centiliters. So 750 milliliters is 75 centiliters. 4 examples. Now it's time for you to have some of your own. Keep the relationship between these units at the back of your mind. As you solve this, you have to convert 6.5 liters to milliliters. You have to convert 235 centiliters to milliliters. You have 1 minute. Begin. Alrighty then, I believe that you are done. Let's just run through it together quickly. 6.5 liters to milliliters. Milli, that's 1,000. That means 1,000 milliliter is 1 liter. 1 liter is the same thing as 1,000 milliliters. So 6.5 milliliters, I will increase 1 to 6.5, and that means I will put 6.5 above, 1 below, and then multiply by the other side. That is 6.5 times 1,000. So writing 6.5, there are 3 zeros, so I move my decimal point 3 times. 1, 2, 3. These empty spaces, I fill them with 0, and I have 6,500. And I believe that's what you got as well. 6,500 milliliters. Let's quickly check out the second one. 235 centiliters to milliliters. What is the relationship between centiliters and milliliters? It's just 10. 10 milliliters is 1 centiliter. 1 centiliter is 10 milliliters. So 235 centiliters. Just to multiply this 235 then by the other side, because 235 here all over 1. Okay, So 235 times 10, just add the 0. That is 2350 milliliters. I believe that you got this right. I'm sure that you did. You are smart. Now I'm going to give you an assignment on something to challenge you, to challenge your thinking and see how well you've really understood today's lesson. But the summary is that capacity is the amount of liquid that a container can hold, and it is measured in liters. Although there are smaller graduations, you have the milliliter, which is 1,000, which is dividing the liter into 1,000 places, and that means that 1,000 milliliters is 1 liter. You have the centiliter, which is dividing the 1 liter into 100 places, and so 100 centiliters is 1 liter. And finally, the relationship between the milliliters and the centiliter is 10. 10 milliliters make 1 centiliter. Alrighty then. So the assignment coming right up. Umar went for a party. Umar drank 4 bottles of soda at Z's birthday party, and each bottle that Umar drank is 75 cl, that is 75 centiliters. How many liters of soda water did he drink altogether? Copy this in 20 seconds and I'll be right back. Alrighty then, Umar likes soda water a lot. I want to know how many liters. That's the end of today's mathematics lesson. It's time for me to hand you over to Uncle Popo for the general studies lesson. Till I come your way in the next class, remain wonderful mathematicians. Bye bye now.
Hello, pupils. You are welcome to General Studies class. I am Uncle Popo. Uncle Popo is here. Good. We are here together. 100% attention. Excellent. 100% attention is what I want you to give me in today's lesson as usual. Our subject for today is social studies. Our subject for today is social studies. And don't forget, in our last lesson, we talked about telecommunication systems in Nigeria. Today, we want to look at another simple and interesting topic. But let me ask, have you ever had disagreement or quarrel with somebody, maybe your friend or anybody before? Good. Okay, sometimes fine. So that means you have the idea of what we want to talk about today. You've had experience of a disagreement or quarrel with anybody before. You have the idea of today's topic. Our topic for today is group conflict. Say that. Group conflict. The learning objectives: by the end of the lesson, you should be able to define conflict and group conflict. You should be able to list causes and effects of group conflict, and you should be able to state the importance of communication and how to avoid group conflict. All these we shall take care in today's lesson. Talking about conflict. Conflict is a quarrel, contest, or disagreement between individual or among groups of people. Like I asked you, have you ever had disagreement or quarrel with anybody before? That is talking about conflict. It's a quarrel, contest, or disagreement between individuals or among groups of people. That's a conflict. So you can see here, there is no way conflict will not occur maybe in our organization, in society, because we have some people that will be of certain opinion while others will not want to support such opinion. So conflict can arise through that. You can see here from the diagram here, those here are saying yes, maybe they are supporting an opinion. Some people here, they are saying no, they are opposing the opinion. So it now depends on how they manage it, and before you know it, conflict comes in. So group conflict is the disagreement between different groups who have opposing ideas. Conflict that I mentioned could be individual to individual, but talking about group conflict is the disagreement between different groups who have opposing ideas. The group could be a certain, maybe an ethnic group, it could be a class, it could be a family, just disagreement between different groups who have opposing ideas. Now, there's no way we talk about conflicts that we won't talk about cooperation, because where you have conflict, at least there is no cooperation in such environment. That's why you have conflict. So let's talk about cooperation. What is cooperation? Cooperation, on the other hand, is when people act together in unity or agreement. Cooperation is when people act together in unity or agreement, where all of you are working together as one family. You are working together in unity. That is what we refer to as cooperation. In a family, in your school, in your society, working together as one, that is cooperation. So everybody putting hands together, joining all the ideas and what they have together to achieve one goal, that's cooperation. It is the willingness to work as a group to achieve collective results. When you work together as a group, you achieve your target goals, you achieve the collective results you want to achieve. Now, let's talk about causes of conflict among groups. Our attention is on group conflict. What are the causes of conflict among groups? Let's look at the causes. 1, selfishness among people. Selfishness among people. A group might be of the opinion that they want to have this thing, and the other group might come up to say, no, it's not your turn, and you have already had such thing maybe for some times. Let's give it to other group too, and they are saying no. So it could lead to group conflict. So that is selfishness among people. A tribe might be of the opinion that, okay, we want to do this, and they have been enjoying that privilege, and another tribe just try to taste from that privilege, and the group is saying, no, we are not releasing it. That is selfishness among people. It could lead to group conflict. Next one is unwillingness to accept other people's views. Unwillingness to accept other people's views. There is no way that you would think your own idea, your own opinion is the best, and others do not have such opinion or idea, and that even when they bring it, you don't want to welcome it. So it could lead to group conflict that, no, even if you are brilliant, even if you are intelligent, at least you should also respect other people's view. You don't look at it as, no. You can't suggest, you can't recommend, no. So with such acts, it could bring group conflict. That's unwillingness to accept other people's views. Lack of understanding where you are living. I told you about cooperation. You need, before you can cooperate with somebody else, you need to understand the person. So when you have lack of understanding, so it could lead to group conflict. You do not understand what certain group or ethnic group, their own views, their customs, their traditions, you don't want to understand. And the other group will look like as if, no, since you don't understand them, it could lead to group conflict. So that is lack of understanding. That's another. Now, having seen or discussed the causes of group conflict, let's look at the effects of group conflict. Effect of group conflict. 1, it causes violent disputes. It causes violent disputes. At times, it could warrant the group A or group B or family, this one family and the other family, or an ethnic group and the other one fighting violently, destroying properties and breaking so many things. So that is violent disputes. So that's one of the effects of group conflict. Next one is it creates hatred and disharmony. It creates hatred in the sense that some, maybe let me just use ethnic group as an example. Such hatred might be created that the family of one ethnic group will tell their children that you should not marry from the other group because they have had disagreement in the past. So because of that, that has created hatred and disharmony. So such hatred will continue to grow like that, and it won't help our society. So, effect of group conflict, it creates hatred and disharmony. Next one is, it does not promote national development. When an ethnic group is fighting another ethnic group, where do we want to have national development in the country? When a family is fighting the other family, a group is fighting the other group, we can't have national development, because as a nation, all the ethnic groups, all the families, everybody have to work together to ensure national development. But if opposite is the case, national development will not be in place. Next one is, it can lead to loss of lives and properties. In the course of fighting, in the course of violent disputes, properties, lives could be lost in the event of fighting. So that's one of the effects. Now let's look at the importance of communication in group conflict management. When we talk about group conflict, communication plays a very vital role to prevent or avoid that group conflict, because when we have a problem in communication or communication gap, it could create problems and cause group conflict. Now let's look at the importance of communication in group conflict management. One, when we have a proper communication, it will serve as a tool for tackling and resolving conflicts. When group A or group B have that dispute, it is through that communication that group A will say, okay, this is what happened. Group B will say, this is what happened, and they will be able to resolve it. So communication is a tool for tackling and resolving conflicts. Next one, communication promotes cultural and social integration. So through communication, it will promote cultural and social integration. Next one, it promotes peace. It promotes peace. When you have communication, we have good rapport with this group and the other group, peace will be promoted. So how do we avoid group conflict? Group conflict. We can still avoid group conflict. How? What are the things we need to do to avoid group conflict? One, tolerate one another. When Bisi tolerates Bayo, when Rufai tolerates Wale, when Yemi tolerates Femi, there won't be any conflict. So tolerate one another. That's one. Two, listen to other people's views. No matter how you think you are brilliant, how you are intelligent, you still need to listen to other people's views. Even if you have better or the best idea, listen to others. Hear their own view, hear their own opinion, and you can pick one or two things from it to add to what you have. So listen to other people's views. So through that, you will avoid group conflict. Next one is by being honest, sincere, and trustworthy in our attitudes. When you are honest, when your yes is yes, your no is no, and you are not biased in exercising some duties, in trying to do some certain things, then group conflict will be avoided, because a person will see you as a trustworthy person, as a sincere person, and they would love to relate with you more and more, and it will avoid group conflict. But when opposite is the case, that see you that you are not trustworthy, it will bring conflict, and this is what we want to say. We want to avoid being honest, sincere, and trustworthy. It's time for evaluation. Question. I have just 3 questions. Question number 1, define group conflict. Question number 2, write 2 causes of conflict among groups. 2 causes of conflict among groups. Question number 3, state 2 ways to avoid group conflict. You have just 40 seconds to attempt this. Your time starts now. eyes on me. Uncle Popo is here. I believe you are still there. So let's mark and see how we have performed in today's lesson. Group conflict is the disagreement between different groups who have opposing ideas. Disagreement, quarrel between different groups. Right two causes of conflict among groups. One, selfishness among people, unwillingness to accept other people's views, and all other causes that we have discussed today are still very correct. And number three, say two ways to avoid group conflict. One, tolerate one another, listen to other people's views, and all other points we have discussed in today's lesson are very much correct. So mark it and rate yourself. We have come to the end of today's lesson. Until next time, next lesson, next week. Uncle Popo says, sorry, next week was in there. Oh yeah. We have come to the end of today's lesson. Until next time, next lesson, Uncle Popo says, keep on studying. Bye.
My wonderful pupils, we have come to the end of another fun-filled edition on the classroom in your home.
Fun-filled indeed, because we enjoyed ourselves as we brought you new lessons in mathematics, English studies, and of course, general studies. We hope that you enjoyed yourself and you learned as much as we did. Now, remember that to become perfect in what you do, you have to practice. A stream does not cut a rock, except, of course, with consistency. You have to practice and you have to be consistent. And to help you with this practice, we have structured some online assessments for you. You can have access to these online assessments by using the link bit.ly/LASUBEBTESTS. That's bit.ly/LASUBEBTESTS. Remember, that online assessment is also our way of knowing how well you are performing so that we can help you to improve on your performance.
Taking the online test is based on if you have access to either your daddy's, your mommy's, your uncle's, or your auntie's Android or smartphones. But if you do not, there's no problem. Just send your questions, your comments, and your homework to 081 50 86 5663. Please do not call that number. Just send your SMS and WhatsApp messages only. And when you're sending your homework or your assignment, don't forget to indicate your name,
your school,
your class,
and your local government education authority. That is the only way through which we can identify you and appraise you accordingly.
Fun-filled lessons we had today, like the other teachers said. These lessons are on Lagos Superb YouTube channel for you to watch over and over again at your own preferred time. Subscribe to Lagos Superb YouTube channel to get notification when new videos are uploaded. The classroom in your home could be watched live on Facebook, the same time airing on television through the page showing on the screen.
Until our next edition, when we shall meet again on another beautifully packaged edition of the program, please make sure you do your homework.
Wash your hands regularly.
Keep practicing. Keep working hard. But above all,
Stay safe.
Because at LASUBEB,
We leave no child behind.